This is day 30, episode 19 of my modular journey. And today we're going to be talking about the polymorphic CV generator. It's called Ornament and Crime. And this is a clone of it, I think, a micro Ornament and Crime. And it is by Mr. Siri. I still have no idea who Mr. Siri is, but thank you, Mr. Siri, for your beautiful little modules that are very well crafted and inexpensive. So coming in at around $279, you might think that's expensive, but what's inside this guy is unbelievable. 13 modules in one. It's got things like chord generators, quantizers, sequencers, analog shift registers, Neo-Romanian triadic transformation thingies. Things that I don't even know what that means. I just read that somewhere. Ornament and Crime is now installed in the rack. Let's get some power going. After a short boot up, we are at wherever I left off last, and it looks like I'm inside the sequencer that I was in last. So I don't know, again, I'm not sure if I can zoom up on this or not. But basically what I'm looking at here is an A and a B sequencer. So you can see the cursor bouncing back and forth. And each one of them is the same as far as its configuration goes. You can go to the edit mode here and you can actually pick different things to do here. Like you can turn off notes that you don't want to play. You can go to the sequences and you can say, what sequence is this? This is sequence number 1, 2, 3, or 4. So there's 4 sequences per sequencer. So there's a sequencer, and then there's the B sequencer that also has 4 sequences. So that's kind of cool. I guess in order to edit so once you pick a sequence, like, because again, there's 4 banks, like, I don't know what you call them, 4 banks of sequences. So you pick the one you're going to work with, and then you can come into it, and you can use the knob here to set, I don't know if you can see this as well, but I'm going -1 from C, let's say it's C4. I'm going -1 to 7. So that's like a G. And then you dial it in by turning the knob here, and then you move on to your next note, and you do the same, and all the way down the line, and you get to the end, and this is where you can actually push it and stretch the sequence from wherever, to up to 16 notes, and that's this sequence. So now you can also switch to 1, 2, 3, or 4. Those are the 4 sequences that are available in this mode. Play mode is another one I'm learning. Is if it's blank like that, that means it's going to play this one sequence over and over. But you can say play sequence +1, so whatever it is, plus the next one, plus the next 2, plus the next 3. Therefore, it'll actually play all 64 notes in a sequence, so that's pretty cool. And there's a bunch more settings that I'm not going to get into. Direction is your typical stuff: forward, reverse, pendulum, random, Brownian, all that kind of fun stuff. The thing I wanted to really get into was there's this aux mode. And the auxiliary mode basically lets you set up, right inside the unit, it lets you set up an ADSR, ADR, or AD, or a couple of other different types of utilities, copy and gate. But I mostly use AD because that way I don't have to build something in like Quadigy. That I can use what's right inside the Sequins app. So here, once you pick the AD mode, or pick whatever mode it is, you get a bunch of parameters below here, and you get to set the shape of the decay, for instance. Let me put it in ADSR real quick so you can see attack, decay, and then sustain and release. So you can set all those things up, and then you can of course set how it resets. So all that stuff aside, let me see if I can remember from one moment to the next how to patch this up. I'm basically taking a clock out of Pamela's to trigger the sequence. And then the notes that are generated by the sequence then come to volt per octave. And then over here on the C channel is the gate out, which is going to open the VCA. And that's it. Start the clock. Let me speed up the clock a little bit. All right, so here we have like our attack duration. Let me just see how you raise the amount, and of course it smooths the attack. But I want this to be plucky. The decay duration, how quickly do you want the note to fall off? Do you want it to be a cliff, or a gate, or a ledge? So there's a whole lot of settings in here, and it is just an enormous little tool. And this is just one sequencer of one application in the entire tool. So now if you want to come over here to the second one, I could actually do another sequence. Let's just see what happens if I take the second one and plug it into a second volt per octave on the chainsaw. What happens then? So now you can hear two different sequences running, right? And the second sequence is a shorter note duration. It's 6 notes to the other one's 8, so that way it kind of wraps a little bit. So now imagine, you have 2 sequencers set up, and ADSR is configured for this, plus all this other kind of looping and playback and 64-step notes and it's just so much stuff in here. It's kind of ridiculous. I'm going to move off of sequence real quick just so I can cover some of this stuff. So if you hold the second knob here down a while, you get into the application selector. So Copier Maschine is one that I've actually worked with a lot too. All right, I had to dash away for a quick moment to remember how to do this, but here's what I've got. I've got gate information coming out of Pamela's into a mult. I've got the mult split to go to trigger in Ornament and Crime, and then I have the same trigger coming into the VCA. Then I have a pitch coming also from Pamela's. I just have it doing a Euclidean rotation over here. So this is pitch information. See it? See, that's pitch info. It's going to go right here into the input jack on Ornament and Crime, channel 1. And then these 3 red cables I have coming out here are basically just 3 copies of what's coming in. What's coming in here is going to be copied out 3 times. Could be copied out 4 times, but Chainsaw has 3 oscillators, or 3 voices. So I'm going to put that in 1, and I'm going to turn on the clock. So this is the tones being generated by the Euclidean in Pamela's. If I take the second pitch, the second copy out and put it into the second oscillator, and then same with the third. to end well. I wired up plates real quick just to show one more layer of noise. So again, pitch info out of plates or into plates, gate info into the mult. So now you can see this one tool is generating all these noises. The real point of this last exercise was just to show Copier Maschine, and I have not gone into any of the other tools in Ornament and Crime yet. When they start talking about Neo-Riemannian triadic transformations, I call Steve, because I don't know what that means. That is it for episode 19, Mr. Series Ornament and Crime. I finally stopped calling it Operation and Crime. Coming up next is Mount Everest, the ACL Symphonian. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned.